So about 10 years ago when I was at MIT, we were in an increasingly data-driven world. And I started doing some thesis research with PepsiCo about improving their supply chain efficiency, which really led me to wanting to understand how the point of sale can actually influence different points along the supply chain, consumer journey, and to drive efficiencies. There's a lot of media in the market, right? We're constantly bombarded every single day. And so what we do is we use an A/B test, basic test versus control, to understand, there's all this different media that consumers are being exposed to. We're going to look at where specific digital impressions that we're measuring were being served versus not being served, and be able to tell whether or not they're making an impact. And over time, we've now been in the market for 4 years with our solution. We measured 5 trillion impressions and been able to determine what works and what doesn't work. Really simply, digital marketing can be highly effective for driving consumers to stores. There's a lot of concern, how do we get consumers into stores, drive foot traffic? What's the best way to connect with them and incentivize them? And, through the work that we've done, we've essentially been able to show that, it's not like what John Wanamaker has said, 50% of my campaigns are working, I don't know which half. It's actually much closer to 70% of campaigns being successful. You're trying to identify your consumer. Oftentimes that means looking at understanding demographic data. So when we first started out, we'd be getting ready to support campaigns. We'd get a targeting list of stores based on demographic information. We'd actually go look at the stores and say that they weren't carrying the products that were being advertised. So we'd be able to go back to media partners and say, hey guys, I know that you have the most brilliant identification of your target market and your target consumer, but if you're spending media dollars driving those people to store and the stores aren't carrying the products, that's a waste right there. People like to keep things simple. We're measuring sales information and campaigns. If you, try to do too much along the path to purchase, some of the best, most complicated activations can fall flat, because at the end of the day, it's about connecting with people along really simple points on their journey. And things like this are reflected in the sales information that we see, and enable us to be able to, make campaigns smarter and enriched going forward.